Hi, everyone. I'm Mad Hildebrandt, and this is the Get Mad Show. Today, we're joined by New Mexico State Senator for District 16, Antoinette Sedillo Lopez, for a special conversation. We will discuss COVID-19, her special interest in Enlace Comunitario, and the upcoming special session. Let's go. Welcome to the show, Antoinette. We're so excited to have you here just for a conversation.
Oh, I'm really delighted to be here, Matt. It's great.
So I think that what people want to know is just a little bit about you before we start talking about any of the topics that just kind of we move towards today. So can you just tell people a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, right now I'm the state senator for District 16 here in Albuquerque, which is terrific. But my background, I was a law professor at the University of New Mexico for 27 years. And then I was the executive director of Enlace Comunitario, which is a domestic violence agency that serves all, of course, but our target outreach was Latino immigrants. And then, as you know, I ran for Congress, which was just an amazing experience. And I didn't know that I would enjoy it as much. Of course, I wasn't successful, and I'm delighted. I think Deb Holland has just done an amazing job. But I was very grateful to have the opportunity to serve because the governor, on the recommendation of the county commission, appointed me to this position, and it has been a great opportunity to serve. And up to now, it's been absolutely fantastic because we have a governor who wanted to get things done, and we actually had the ability to do things. Now it's getting a little rough.
Yeah. Now it's getting a little rough, and the thing that's causing those problems is our experience with COVID-19. And I know, we haven't had it as bad in Socorro County as you guys are having it up there. We notice it more on Alamo for the Navajos, which is just a terrible tragedy. What's happening in our state with Navajos. So what's happening in your district? How are you guys reacting to that?
Well, the last time I looked at the zip codes in my district, I believe there are only 2 people within affected it. I'm not aware of any deaths in the district. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm having.
You're frozen, but I'm not.
No, it's the connection. It's, I live in this little town and it's broadband access is garbage down here. So that's what's happening.
Something we need to change because that's one of the things COVID has really revealed.
Yeah.
How our rural communities haven't been able to really do the home-based schooling
Right.
and the technological education that has been offered. That and also, I mean, the tribes and the reservations. It's just really COVID has really revealed a lot of inequities.
Yeah, I think that's true. And
we were.
Yeah, it's like, that, as you know, that's one of the things that I was running on was this idea of the internet and broadband access, which is so lacking in so much of our state. And even cell phone coverage is bad. And, and now we're seeing that in our kids who are sitting at home, and not just our kids, but young people who are at college who are sitting at home taking their classes. Is it, when we're looking at the fall semester, that we still don't know for sure what UNM is going to do, and even down here at Tech, and we're looking at UCLA, which is it UCLA is the one that's going to be all online next fall?
Yeah, I'm not sure, and that's ironic because I'm a graduate of UCLA and I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. But what I think that universities and colleges should be, if they're smart, they should try to figure out a plan to demonstrate that they can do this safely for the students, like requirements of having masks in all the class, offering in all the classes, offering masks, changing the seating so that people are not so crowded in classrooms, using the larger classrooms and spacing people out at least 6 to 8 feet apart, having policies within the dorms that, not having roommates or thinking through testing requirements, maybe taking temperatures, all kinds of things. And I think those schools that can demonstrate that they can actually provide the education safely will be the schools that will be allowed to open up, and they'll be models for the rest of the schools.
Oh yeah, I think so. And you know, I teach online. I teach college online. I've been teaching online for like 21 years. And you know, I was one of the early pioneers of the field, I guess you could say. Um,
So you're a model for how it can be done.
and it can be done. It can be done successfully. It can be done well. I know that a lot of people, as they're coming out and doing this, you see a lot of new young teachers and professors who they just don't know yet what to do, and they're afraid of it. And it really doesn't need, and the students don't need to be afraid of it either. It just takes a different mindset. But I think, do you remember probably when you were a kid, I'm assuming, maybe I'm assuming wrong, but we had so many fewer students in a classroom than if you're just talking about elementary school. And now you get 40 kids in a class instead of the 20. And again, we're seeing,
have to change.
yeah. So COVID is pointing out that to us too, that what we're doing, cramming these kids in these classrooms, is you know, it needs to be changed again as well.
And that'll probably provide better educational outcomes too.
Oh, I think so too. I think so.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Enlace,
Sure.
because I think that is a really a wonderful program that you're working with. And I know that when you left at the university, because everybody tell everybody what you were when you left, because you know you had a very big position there.
Well, I
It's
was
wonderful.
a tenured law professor at the University of New Mexico, but I was the associate dean for our clinical programs. And I mean, I had a wonderful career at the university, just absolutely wonderful. But 27 years is a long time to do anything. And I just really had this urge to be more involved with the community. I saw what was going on, and I'm so grateful for that time, because one of the things that was very strange about working at Enlace was I would, sometimes a caseworker or a counselor would come in and explain something that happened to the client. And I would say, no, that can't be right, because that's how the system doesn't work that way. And they would kind of roll their eyes, and then we'd investigate. And of course it had happened to our client that way, because they were either undocumented, didn't speak English, or didn't speak English very well. They were in an abusive relationship. Nobody believed them. And just all of these, there was sort of the law and then how it actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I would teach law school differently from that experience, because it was disheartening. And one of the things that I think is really important that is, when we have laws on the book, that we ensure they apply to all equally.
Oh, yeah, that is so important. And I know when we talk about Enlace and the fact that what you're looking at is violence towards women, and that is something that while I, as you know, I'm a victim of violence towards women myself. I'm a survivor, and not within my home, outside of the home. But that's something that is so important, that women are paid attention to and helped in those situations. And I think that is one of the really great things about Enlace and about what you're doing. And I really do appreciate that. And
well, I really appreciate that you're public about it. And as you know, I also am a survivor of rape and also domestic violence, not with my current partner, of course, but with a partner that I had when I was in law school. And it's really important that you start by believing. And that's one of the things that I think is crucial.
Yeah.
Recently, in Enlace, when I was there, we incubated an organization called Casa Fortaleza, which is focused on sexual assault. And we did that because the community was saying, in Lasse, while its focus is on domestic violence, we need to work on sexual assault within the community. And so we incubated that project. It's now a separate 501c3, and I'm the president of the organization. And it's so interesting to me because the same thing in the domestic violence cases.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is the fear of going to the courthouse and fear of contacting police, which is really disturbing. And that needs to change. We can't have a class of people who are afraid to get access to the justice that they're entitled to.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're talking about that, and that, that the idea in the immigrant community that there's this fear, this fear to go to the courthouse and even to contact a lawyer when you're being, attacked, beaten, harassed, whatever the situation is by community members or by your family members. But it doesn't matter who that person is, that what's happening to that person. What is so important is that they can get out there and get help and not be afraid to get help.
That's absolutely right. And that's what we're working to. And in fact, I've introduced a courthouse access bill, and I'm going to introduce it again to ensure that the courthouse is open to all.
Oh.
And so that the immigrant community can be assured that if they go and seek help, that there's not going to be collateral horrific consequences. And one of the things that I found so disturbing is under this Trump administration, for some reason, they randomly started going to courthouses to pick up people. And the courthouses, just like the schools, just like hospitals, should be a safe space so that people, I think access to healthcare is fundamental. I also believe access to justice is fundamental, and we need to protect it. So I'm hoping to get that bill passed. Colorado just passed it. I was hoping New Mexico would be the first state to pass a courthouse access bill, but Colorado beat us. But I hope we come in and do it,
I mean,
to make our communities feel safe.
Yeah, it's absolutely a wonderful thing to see that happen in Colorado. I mean, yay. but as always, it seems like New Mexico can't come first in the good thing.
Well, we did do a great thing with regard to domestic violence and gun safety. And this was especially gratifying to me because I had worked on supporting that bill when I was at Enlace Comunitario. And then I became the legislative director for a very short time. She says we blinked, the director says we blinked. But after I lost the election, I became the legislative director for the Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And got to continue working on that bill. And then when I became a legislator, I asked to co-sponsor it and was able to co-sponsor it. After it passed, I got to teach the judges and legal services lawyers about how the bill worked. So it was just, the whole thing was gratifying. And I was so happy and so proud. And I believe that taking guns, it basically enforcing federal law. That's all this bill does, is it enforces federal law. And what I said, when you have laws on the books but you don't enforce them, it's really frustrating. And this is a way of enforcing it.
Right.
I think we're saving lives in this state.
Oh yeah, I think so. It's very good work that you're doing. As far as the upcoming session is concerned, what other things are you looking forward to that you think that might happen for us?
Well, the upcoming, you're talking about the special session that we're going to have.
Yes.
Run. Yeah. Well, this session, we can only address bills that are on the governor's call. And of course, what we really have to look at is the budget. Mm-hmm. Because of the collapse of the oil and gas industry, our budget is going to be totally out of whack. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be as bad. Because we had 25% reserves, this fiscal year that is going to end in June is going to be fine. Teachers will be paid. Everything's going to be fine. However, the next fiscal year is going to be more complicated because we're losing so much revenue. Not only oil and gas, which is devastating, but also personal income tax, groceries taxes. All of the taxes are going to be way, way down. But right. The complication is going to be all of this money coming in from the federal government. The extra money for um, the extra money for schools, the extra money for employment insurance, for unemployment compensation,
Mm-hmm.
and the extra money that are going to different agencies to respond to the crisis that's been caused by the response to the COVID-19 um, crisis. So we have to calculate how to address our budget so that we can retain our core programs that are so important and take
Right.
into account the federal money. So it's going to be complicated, but I don't think it's going to bite us as badly because we do have a lot of this federal money coming in. And so that is going to be a complicated budget. I think it's possible that the governor may also put in some protections for essential workers.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that essential workers have been denied insurance coverage, which I think is an absolute outrage.
Yeah.
Of course, as you know, I'm a strong proponent of Medicare for all
Right.
and universal
Right.
health care because I do believe it's a fundamental right. And I think the COVID virus shows that that's what we should be doing. But who knows? It's going to be a complex session. I think the bigger complexity is going to be in the next session, January, when we're not going to have as much, I imagine, as much federal money coming in,
Oh,
and we'll
yeah.
have to craft a budget that will work. And we'll just have to wait and see if we actually do how we recover from this virus. I don't expect the oil and gas industry to rebound that quickly. So
Right.
adjustments, which shows we've been over reliant on that industry for way too long.
Yeah, yeah, that absolutely is, and it looks like this is the time. This is exactly the time, and it's too late actually, but this is the time, too late, that we do need to start making that push towards the renewables that we have in such abundance as a
Yeah.
natural resource here in New
Well,
Mexico.
and as you know, I had proposed a pause on fracking so that the state could study the methane problem that they've created and really look at the health impacts of the fracking industry and the environmental impacts and the impacts on water. So
Hmm.
that was the thrust of that bill, is to put a pause. Well, now there's actually a bigger pause than I proposed because they're actually closing wells, which was not in my bill.
Oh,
But
yeah.
now that they're slowing down, I think is a time to put regulations in place to ensure that people are protected and that the environment is protected when and if they rebound and want to come back. I also am very disturbed that some companies may be declaring bankruptcy and leaving a mess for the state to clean up. And what bothers me about that is sometimes these companies declare bankruptcy, then form a new company and come back and act as if nothing happened. So those are all issues that I think the legislature needs to deal with. And as you know, I'm absolutely passionate about our beautiful environment, our
Hmm.
fragile and beautiful environment. And so those are things that I really want to push for.
Yeah, and I think that, people who think about a desert environment, they tend to think of it as harsh and almost as though it's sturdy and in its aridity. But what that really means is that it's very delicate, and because it's just clinging to life, and that makes our environment that much more precious here, I think.
Absolutely. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we're right at the end of our time slot here. So I would like to thank you again for coming and talking with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited that you're doing this. You're a good you're a good interviewer. So maybe career options there. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm sure that all the viewers are going to be really, really excited to hear about what's coming up in this special session, and to hear about Enlace. And I hope I would like you to share that. You don't have to share it right now. I'm going to put it down in the comments below. But make sure that you send me links to those, to your
Fortaleza and Enlace.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
want to contribute and support them, that would be fabulous.
yeah,
That would
and
be
I'll,
fabulous.
yeah, absolutely. And as you know, I've contributed each time on Facebook when you've showed, when you've done one of those Facebook things. Make sure you keep doing those. Those are wonderful.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, anytime that there's anything that you want to talk about, I'm glad to host another conversation with this wonderful Senator Antoinette Sedillo Lopez.
Thank you, Mad. Take care.
Yeah, you too. And thank you everyone for watching, and make sure that you click the subscribe button down below so that you can continue to watch more conversations as we bring more of your sitting representatives and senators and other people. We don't know where these conversations are going to go. This is the first one, but make sure that you subscribe so that you can continue to watch them. And thank you again, and thank all of you for watching.